Right, so here we are with young Ash. Ash is 3 and he's being started under saddle by T, and this morning he's had a saddle on just the first time, just a little dressage saddle for the first time. And now we're long reining. And so what we've found with him is when we first started, he had a sort of 0 to 100 emotional level. It was one or the other. And it was quite difficult to regulate because he'd get a bit scared. And his response to that was to rear and spin and change direction. So what we realized was we didn't have consistency in his moving his feet. So get the feet to move, get the feet to move consistently. We didn't have that. Take them in the direction you want them to go. We also didn't have that because he wouldn't travel consistently in one direction or another. So T's got him over all of those things, which is great. She's done give to the bit work with him and some shoulder control, and he's been long reining for a while now. So what we've found is that he's gained a lot of confidence on the long reins, which means he's no longer getting anxious and trying to change direction. And it's all about confidence, knowing what the right answer is. So now that we've got to this stage, now what we need to do is keep him engaged, because now that he understands those answers, he's a bit of a tendency to sort of switch off and just trot about. So what T's doing now, T, tell us how you're keeping him engaged now.
I'm asking him for transitions, just up to trot, back down to a walk, so that he's paying attention to me.
Yeah.
And he thinks he knows that answer there. I'm not. Coming through the middle doesn't always mean a change of direction.
Yeah.
And I'm letting him make the mistake of breaking gait.
Okay.
And then I make a big correction out of that, so that, that's a moment to bring his emotional level up and kind of bring him back in. So.
Yeah. And the other advantage of that is that it really helps with the book ending, doesn't it? So if you haven't asked him to walk and he's walked, then you can correct that and say, no, I didn't ask you. And then you can actually ask him to walk a bit later. And then what happens is the horse starts to wait for that signal to walk. And that's how you get self-carriage. And self-carriage is all about the horse doing what they've been asked to do until you ask them to do something else. So if he's being asked to trot around on the long reins here, then he should trot around until he's asked to canter or to walk. Or to do something else. And so what T is doing is correcting it when he makes a mistake. And so you can get after him by asking him to trot as soon as he makes a mistake and flicking the whip at him or something like that, and he goes back into trot. And then try and be quiet. What you don't want to do with a horse like this, who's naturally a very sort of quiet horse anyway, is we can all see when he's going to break gait. And so by pushing him forward before he makes a mistake, what happens quite often is the horse just learns to rely on that. And so then they're going to sort of suck you into that, keeping them going. And if you've ever ridden a horse that needs to be sort of squeezed every stride of trot, you know, if you've ridden a riding school horse, for example, that's been really desensitized to signals, then you'll know what we're talking about. And we don't want him to behave like that. So letting him make the mistake sometimes is a really good idea, because then you can correct that mistake. If you want the horse to respond to something sensitively, then use it less. If you want the horse to habituate to something, then use it more. So if we think about that, I want the horse to habituate to wearing a saddle, for example, or let's say a saddle cloth. The first time you put a saddle cloth on the horse, I want the horse to habituate to that. So I'm going to use it a lot. I'm going to rub it all over the horse. I'm going to flap it. I'm going to pull it to the ground from the back of the horse. I'm going to use it a lot because I want the horse to respond less to it. My voice, I want the horse to respond more to. I want the horse to be light. So I'm going to try and use my voice less so that it means more to the horse. And same, of course, with your leg when you're riding the horse. You know, if you have to kick the horse every stride, what's happened is that the horse habituated or desensitized to leg, and so it doesn't mean anything to the horse anymore. So we need to be careful of those pressure signals, whether it's your voice or your leg or the reins, that we don't overuse them and desensitize the horse to them. Great, thanks T.